Found some.
Get in the boat, boy.
In God of War, we are reintroduced to Kratos, the Ghost of Sparta, the Greek god of war, apparently alone and reflective of some inner turmoil. He is different from the last time we see him in the original trilogy, best shown by his new weapon and the absence of his signature blades of chaos. As audience members, our attention is brought to the bandages wrapped around his forearms where the chains had been seared to his flesh. And as he rewraps these bandages, we understand that his past as the Ghost of Sparta still haunts him, that he is still trying to hide who he is. And, as this young boy steps into frame, Kratos keeps his back to him so as not to let him see a trace of these scars. Immediately, we are shown the main character's attitude towards his past, and his attitude towards others, even someone as close to him as his own son. The God of War we knew from the previous games wants to forget, as he has always wanted to forget. More importantly, he wants to keep who he was a secret at whatever cost. As storytellers, we want to quickly establish a character's internal need and a character's external want, and God of War does both in 2 minutes. Kratos wants to leave the past behind and keep it secret. Kratos needs to form a relationship with his son, which requires trust and letting his son know his past. From the previous games, calling Kratos stubborn would be an understatement. Currently, Kratos has what he wants. His identity is hidden. His son doesn't know his story. To break down and allow a relationship to overshadow his personal goals will be no small task, and so, as storytellers, we need to devise a plan to essentially bring the God of War out of retirement while simultaneously making him a better man and a better father. But first, we as audience members need to see where the God of War is currently, both in laying his past to rest and playing his new role as a father figure.
What are you doing? Now his guard is up. Only fire! Only fire when I tell you to fire.
I'm sorry.
Do not be sorry. Be better. Wait for my mark. Relax. Do not think of it as an animal. It is simply a target. Clear your mind. Feet solid. Steady yourself. Exhale and release.
I got it.
Good. Your knife. No. Finish what you started.
I can't.
You are not ready.
What? Are you serious? I found the deer. I proved myself. How am I not ready?
We are going home.
I haven't been sick in a long time. I can do this.
You are not ready.
One of the things that God of War has to its advantage is that the audience theoretically has an idea of who Kratos is. He may not be the same loud, angry, bloodthirsty god-killer we remember, but we do remember him. What this allows the storytellers to do is take their time in making us like Kratos. As a standalone story, having never known Kratos prior to playing this installment in the franchise, it would be less easy to like the man than had I any previous exposure to the character. He is competent, as shown by him carrying a tree with one arm, and he has suffered the loss of his wife, causing empathy, and he does demonstrate a very reserved mourning for her loss. When creating a main character, we want to emphasize certain character qualities: competence, proactivity, and likability. While Kratos is competent and proactive, he is cold towards his son, domineering, and plain scary at times. He is not very likable, and this is where God of War excels, not in what Kratos can do, but in what he cannot do. The Kratos we have known in the previous games, and in this story, has and does struggle with being a compassionate, decent human being. Despite his strength and the ability to destroy everything in his path, or rather because of his strength and ability to destroy, he is at risk of destroying the one thread of humanity that he still has, his relationship with his son. Keep in mind that, no matter the story, we invest ourselves in the characters, and already we see that everything Kratos has ever characteristically been jeopardizes the one thing he truly needs to become better. But, in order to overcome the past which consumes him, Kratos must battle those demons metaphorically and literally.
What was that?
Quiet.
Come on out! There's no use hiding anymore. I know who you are.
What's going on? Do you know him?
More importantly, I know what you are.
Boy, beneath the floor. Now.
But you told me never to go down there. Who is that?
I do not know.
What's he talking about?
I do not know. Get in.
Just tell me what I want to know. No need for this to get bloody. I thought you'd be bigger. But you're definitely the one.
I know who you are. I know what you are. It is almost as if Kratos' inner monologue is being read by this strange visitor. God of War is very much a redemption story in that Kratos is trying to put his dark past behind him, while also struggling to be a good father for his son, neither of which is he currently succeeding at. Balder as a primary antagonist is an embodiment of a dark mirror. He is strong, invulnerable, driven mad by rage and vengeance. He is Kratos from the original trilogy, which most audience members acknowledge is an unstoppable force. The storytellers are almost literally putting the god of war, Kratos, against his younger self, Balder. As storytellers, incorporating irony into your craft is key in audience satisfaction. There is a poetry about it, whether it is in the form of a god who, despite all of his strengths and power, cannot be vulnerable with his son, or a man seeking to escape his past at the same time his past self comes to the front door. Often, I like to think of villains as demonstrations of our main character's external want taken to an extreme. With Balder, we have Kratos' want taken to the extreme, but it is his want from the previous trilogy, the past self that he now wants to forget. But, as we learn later, keeping his past a secret from his son will be far more difficult than Kratos anticipated.
I know you're a god. Not of this realm, but there's no mistaking it. He doesn't know, does he? About your true nature? Or his own?
That is none of your concern.
The gods of these realms don't take kindly to outsiders, trust me. I know. When they find you, and they will, they'll make things difficult. The boy will want answers.
That will be my problem.
Whatever you're hiding, you cannot protect him forever. But you're right. Doesn't concern me.
For the first time in this story, the audience is made aware of the fact that Atreus does not know anything about his heritage at all. Not that his father was a ruthless murderer, not that his father is from another land, not even that his father is different, let alone a god. In this short scene, we see the lengths to which Kratos has gone to repress everything about himself from his son. Not just the darkest parts, but even more neutral points. This decision adds to the consistency of Kratos' character, a want for privacy, a want to forget. But it also imparts a significant piece of knowledge about the god of war and his son. Kratos, who sees the uncontrolled anger in his son, also sees a young god. Two aspects of himself which Kratos detests, qualities of himself which he must overcome in order to help his son in controlling them as well. It is at this stage of the story where we have three forms of the god of war. One being the innocent and oblivious child Atreus, who functions as a character foil to Kratos as a child worthy of saving. The second being the rage-driven Balder, representing the Kratos we are most familiar with. And finally, Kratos himself, a man haunted by the memory of who and what he is. In terms of storytelling, we as audience members now understand the moral dilemma our main character faces. Does he hate Balder, and who he was, more than he loves his son, and the part of himself who is trying to be better?
I hear her! I told you I heard her! Do you think she's in there? That really hurt. I felt like my hand was on fire.
Stay here.
But I want to
Stay here. Only use it as a last resort.
You're giving me your axe?
I'm letting you hold my axe. It is not a gift.
Still.
is this? Faye?
You have to come back. You left me here alone.
Atreus?
Alone with him. He always leaves. He's never here. He doesn't want me and he never will. I don't know him and he doesn't know me. Doesn't seem to want to. I'm strong. I'm smart. I'm not what he thinks I am. I know better. He doesn't talk to me. Doesn't teach me. It should have been him. Do you hear me? Him, not you. Except... I don't mean that. You know I love him. I just wish he was better. I know he can be. So if he tries, I'll try. But if he doesn't, please come back. I know you're out there somewhere.
Faye. Wait! Come back! No! No! What have you done? Why did you do that?
I saved you! You were trapped in there! I waited, but you wouldn't come out! So I pulled you out!
Boy! I was gone only... moments.
No! You've been gone a long, long time! I didn't know what to do! You left me here! Again! Why don't you care?
In the previous games, Kratos was very much a standalone character. There wasn't much in terms of supporting characters, but rather obstacles for the God Killer to overcome. Now, we have a supporting character in Atreus, who gives us a harsh opinion of his own father. He feels that the man does not care, that he views Atreus as a nuisance or burden, and the boy wishes, understandably, that if one of his parents had to die, it should have been his father. Think of this device as similar to the Ghost of Christmas present in Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol. Our hero is being told point blank what people really think of him, unintimidated by his reaction or deterred by his sensitivities. What is also interesting is the interaction between Atreus and his father before Kratos enters the light of Alfheim. Kratos allows Atreus to hold his axe, and the boy is surprised. This reinforces the idea that Kratos has never given his son much of anything, not even the trust to look after something, and we've seen this before with Atreus' bow and knife. Furthermore, when Atreus pulls his father out of the light of Alfheim, Kratos is surprised to find that he has been gone for more than 2 minutes. More importantly, Atreus has protected him against an onslaught of dark elves during this time. When the boy begins to cough, it is a reminder to the audience that he is sick, and, while it is not clear what he is sick from, we can recognize it is always at times when he is overcome with anger, times when he is most like his father.
He doesn't know what you are.
And I would keep it that way.
Brother, in case he can't resurrect me, there's something you need to know. Boy, the longer you wait to tell him his true nature, the more damage you do. He will resent you, and you may lose him forever.
There's much about me I would not have him know.
So you value your privacy more than your son, eh?
I'm going to cut off your head now.
Fair enough.
Kratos has now received 2 warnings about keeping his son in the dark. The first from the witch in the woods, and the second from Mimir. We still see from Kratos' reaction that he is not even reluctant to change, but refuses to change, something that is consistent with who he has always been, and also a quality that makes this story so compelling. Audiences watch a story to watch a character change, and Kratos never has over the course of the entire series. We've watched him kill thousands of people, creatures, and gods because of his stubbornness. There has arguably been only one time where this wasn't the case, and it was in order to protect Pandora in the original trilogy. What we are seeing from the storytelling perspective is the descent into rock bottom. As Kratos and Atreus pursue their external goal of spreading Faye's ashes from the highest peak, they have hit corrupted magic, gone through an elf war, and found out that they have been traveling to the wrong peak for the entire story. It is a mix of obstacles, failures, and successes in pursuit of a character's want. However, in terms of the character need, Kratos' need to trust his son, to let his son know who he is, to know that shielding Atreus from the truth will only hurt him more, Kratos has not made any progress.
It worked!
Let me see him. Mimir? You there?
Yes.
Good.
Oh. Hello, Freya. Been a long time. You look well.
What I did for them. As far as I'm concerned, death suits you better.
I'd bow if I could, Your Majesty. Forgive me. Had I known the witch in the woods was Freya herself, I never would have suggested this.
Freya? The goddess Freya?
You didn't know either? Sorry.
When word gets out that Mimir is free, the wrath of Odin won't be far behind.
You are God.
Leader of the Vanir, once yes, but no longer.
You did not think it important to tell me.
Are you really going to lecture me about that?
We are leaving, boy.
But...
Now.
You're welcome!
Here, it is laid out plainly before us as viewers. Freya has just helped Kratos and Atreus tremendously. Again. But this exposes that she herself is a god. Not only a god, but a deposed god, leader of the Vanir once. In case it wasn't obvious, her similarities to Kratos are stacking up, adding to her function as a character foil, and, as far as we can tell, she is everything Kratos could be: powerful, helpful, giving, nurturing. But we know that's not who Kratos is. What we do get to know is just how much Kratos still hates the gods. Not only the gods from Greece, but all gods, even ones that have risked their lives and resources to help him spread his wife's ashes. This scene is also a great example of character irony and phenomenal dialogue because Freya and Mimir take shots at Kratos for his own hypocrisy. Who is Kratos to lecture Freya on keeping her godhood a secret from strangers, when Kratos keeps his secret from his own son? Something important to take away from this interaction, not only for character development, but for overall good storytelling, is repetition. Freya advises Kratos to tell Atreus of his godhood. Mimir repeats the advice. Both rightfully mock him for not doing so, but respect his wishes to keep his secret. The storytellers for God of War remind us, the viewer, over and over again, that one of our themes has to do with truth and honesty, and that keeping these things hidden in order to protect yourself or others will inevitably backfire. But so far, so good. Nothing bad has happened from keeping secrets so far, right?
Atreus! Control yourself!
How did you... You have no idea. You son of a bitch!
Sickness fever has returned.
No! It hasn't.
Roy,
The coffin, the blood. The boy's sick, he needs Freya.
No!
steady.
I'll be alright. Shut up! You don't know anything about my mother.
Oh, it's true. But I'm gonna get to know you really well. You're gonna be my new brother. Right after I finish killing your father! Whoops. I think I broke him.
In these scenes, we are seeing the disease affect Atreus more aggressively. The boy is affected when he is enraged, and when he asks a question that hints at his father's true nature. Since when can you kill a god? These scenes are used, 1, to increase suspense, because Atreus is a ticking time bomb, and 2, to increase pressure on Kratos to change. While it is not blatantly obvious that Kratos' secret is what is affecting Atreus, we do know that the boy is most affected when he is angry, like his father, or has questions which lead to Kratos' true identity. What this does is give us, as viewers, a bit of a mystery to solve, while also hinting at the cause of the boy's illness. Finally, when Atreus is overcome with rage, he mimics the same appearance we see when Kratos uses Spartan rage. As audience members, it is a hard nod to the reality that who Kratos is, and in turn, who Atreus is what is killing him. What comes next is the reaction to a problem Kratos has been spending the entire story hoping to avoid.
Freya! Open the door! We need your help! Woman, do you hear me? It is urgent!
I'm still a god. Go away.
The boy has fallen ill! Freya! He is ill.
Inside. This is no ordinary illness. The boy's true nature, your true nature, fights within him.
I did this to him. Will you help me?
Of course. There is a rare ingredient found only in Helheim. The keeper that protects the Bridge of the Damned. I need its heart.
Hell,
The realm of the dead. Do you know it?
not this one.
It is a land of unyielding cold. Fires cannot burn there, and no magic in all the 9 realms can create a blaze. As for the dead, your frost axe will be useless. You'll need to find something else.
Then I must return home. Dig up a past I swore would stay buried.
Who you were before doesn't matter. This boy is not your past, he is your son. And he needs his father.
We've understood up to this point that Kratos keeping Atreus in the dark would have consequences. For all intents and purposes, we assume these consequences will be emotional. Atreus will hate his father, the rift between them will deepen, the boy will fall into a similar darkness as his father. It's not until Atreus nearly dies that there is a sense of not knowing the truth about himself will literally kill him. This consequence, in a lot of ways, can be thought of as a second inciting incident. The story begins when Kratos and Atreus need to leave their home in order to spread Faye's ashes, and when Baldur comes knocking down their door. Their external circumstances change. It is not until this point in the story where Kratos' external circumstances compel a change in internal change. In order to physically save his son, Kratos must return home, face the past that haunts him, and use it in order to save Atreus. This onset of Kratos' character change is essentially a mini-story in and of itself, intrinsic to the main plot, but also a valid standalone story about a man facing his darkness and going to hell so that he can save his child.
Athena. Get out of my head.
There's nowhere you can hide, Spartan. Put as much distance between you and the truth as you want. It changes nothing. Pretend to be everything you are not. Teacher, husband, father. But there is one unavoidable truth you will never escape. You cannot change. You will always be a monster.
I know. But I am your monster no longer.
For someone who had never seen the original God of War trilogy, this scene may have been a little confusing, but for the audience member who knows Kratos' backstory, we understand several painful experiences are going on for our main character. We see that Athena, who was possibly his only friend in the original games, and also one of the first gods he kills, is almost a physical manifestation of Kratos' guilt and fears. As he refastens the chains, she reminds him that he is not a teacher, a husband, or father, and that he will always be a monster. This has been a running thread for Kratos since the very first game, when the Oracle of Athens looks into his mind and sees a monster as well as a man. Once Kratos has fastened the Blades of Chaos to his arms, chains which represented servitude to Ares, blades used to murder the very same god, his own wife and daughter, his father, Kratos says, "I know, but I am your monster no longer." I need to take a brief aside here to go into the symbolism of the blades and how they now feed into Kratos' development as a character. The Blades of Chaos are iconic for this generation of gaming. They are like Mario's mushrooms or Zelda's green hat. We see them and immediately associate them with the God Killer. And this is where symbolism really does a lot of heavy lifting for storytellers. We don't need Kratos to say he is overcoming the sins of his past in order to save his son. We don't need flashbacks of Kratos killing his family with these blades to know the irony of needing them to fight in Helheim. We don't need Athena to remind him, Kratos, that he is a slave to the monster he was, because we as audience members know what those chains represent. What we do need to know, what we do need to be told, is that Kratos accepts that he is some sort of monster. Yes, but he no longer is the monster who is running from his past. He is now using that darkness to protect his son. That being said, one cannot overcome centuries of running away simply by putting on the old suit, or in this case, picking up the chains. The Ghost of Sparta is still haunted.
I have the heart. I need nothing more.
You're set. Better not to linger here, though, eh?
Kratos. Zeus.
Zeus?
My father.
Your father was Zeus? Well, that explains a lot.
What is that place?
Never go there. Understand?
While in Helheim, Kratos sees a vision of his father, Zeus. Mimir explains that hell causes people to hallucinate the nightmares of their past, which, for Kratos, is a torture he endures every day. As storytellers, one of the things to consider implementing with your characters is not only the traditional external wants and internal needs, but also to utilize a character's dislike or hatred. For a character to want something is powerful. Wanting to avoid something is equally powerful. Having both enhances character motivation, but in the case of Kratos, we have something artfully ironic in that in order to obtain what he wants and needs, he needs to face and overcome what he has spent years trying to avoid. He wants to spread his wife's ashes. He wants to be a better father. He wants to forget his past. But Kratos wasn't the greatest father or husband in the past. He had a terrible relationship with his father. Any relationships he has ever had either ended in betrayal or murder. There is the old Nietzsche quote that whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster. And if you gaze long enough into the abyss will gaze back into you. Kratos is currently walking this fine line of fighting monsters, aka Baldur, the embodiment of his old self, while simultaneously trying to be a better father for his son. It is a precarious and volatile situation where a lot could go wrong, and that is what makes it so fun to experience. We want Kratos to be better. We want him to be a good father for Atreus, but we understand that this will be quite the mountain to climb.
He is still ill.
I can break the fever, but to heal...
He must know the truth of what he is.
Yes.
It is not so simple.
Help me prop him up. Did I tell you that I have a son, too? It's been forever since I last saw him. At his birth, the runes foretold a needless death. The babe in my arms was so small, so helpless. I knew right then I would do anything to protect him, no matter the sacrifice. Of course, everything I did for myself. I let my needs, my fears, come before what he needed. And I couldn't see his resentment until it was too late. Don't make the same mistake. Have faith in him. I know the truth isn't simple, but nothing is when it involves your child.
It is a curse. The boy has been cursed.
Don't leave without me.
I will not.
I'm better now.
I see that. Is he well enough to travel?
For now.
It won't happen again. I promise.
You see that it does not.
We have gotten to this point in the story where Kratos has faced his past and, in some ways, overcome it. He used the blades, freed himself from Athena, but was still very much haunted by the memory of his father. Kratos has taken a step towards change, but we understand as viewers and storytellers that there needs to be layers to this change. You don't overcome centuries of repressed trauma in a day. This is something to keep in the front of your mind when storytelling. Never make things easy for your characters. That goes for emotional or physical conflicts. The amount of struggle needs to be proportional to the degree of change taking place, and, frankly, a story does not need to take a character from tiny shattered pieces to fully put back together. Slowly fix your characters from broken to better. With Kratos, we see that he is starting to come around, starting to understand that, for Atreus to be safe, he needs to know at a minimum that he and his father are gods. Having Freya as a supporting character in this scene conveys to Kratos and the audience that to tell Atreus the truth is the most important thing, and to keep it secret is selfish and will ultimately lead to pain. The question is, how much pain will there be when Kratos tells his son the truth?
You are quiet. Are you not better?
I guess.
I know you overheard my talk with Freya. You think you understand, but you do not. Why do you say nothing?
You said I was cursed. You think I'm weak because I'm not like you. I know I was never what you wanted. But after all this, I thought maybe things were different.
You do not know everything, boy.
No. But at least I know the truth now.
The truth. The truth. I am a god, boy. From another land far from here. When I came to these shores, I chose to live as a man. But the truth is, I was born a god. And so were you. Boy, have you nothing to say?
Can I turn into an animal?
Can you turn into an animal? No. No, I do not think so.
I'm a god. Mother knew? She was a god too?
No. She was mortal, but she knew my true nature.
I'm a god. Why did you wait so long to tell me?
I had hoped to spare you. Being a god, it can be a lifetime of anguish and tragedy. That is the curse.
What sorts of things can I do? Can I fly? Or turn invisible? I don't feel like a god.
I do not know the reach of your godhood. But over time, you will learn.
There is a saying that change only occurs when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change itself. For Kratos, a man whose internal need is to form a stronger relationship with his son, there probably isn't anything more painful than hearing his son say, "I know I'm not what you wanted." Back to what I was saying about not allowing change to come easily, sometimes it is necessary to hurt your characters. In fact, you should hurt your main characters. It is one of the few believable ways to shove them forward on their journey. To the god of war, the comfort of his selfish privacy is no longer worth his son's misery and physical pain. Kratos explains that he had hoped to spare Atreus, that he hoped to allow him a simpler life without suffering from his godhood, without suffering from knowledge. But really, Atreus was already suffering from his own truth, a contrived story which he understood to be true. He was unloved, unwanted, and a burden to his father, a false reality that hurt the boy far more than knowing what he really was. In one of the funnier lines of dialogue in the story, and one of the most realistic questions from a child I've ever heard in a story, Atreus asks if he can turn into an animal. Immediately, the fears and unease Kratos and us as viewers have been diffused. At this stage, the knowledge does not corrupt Atreus, and it does not hurt Kratos. For the first time in the story, the father and son have a general understanding of one another. That being said, Atreus still does not fully know who his father is, or what he has done to deserve his life of suffering and torment.
Boy. Yeah. On the day you were born, I made 2 knives, mixing metals from my home and from this land. One for myself, and when you were ready, one for you. Today is that day.
So I'm a man now, like you?
No. We are not men. We are more than that. The responsibility is far greater. And you must be better than me. Understand? Say it.
I will be better.
The power of this weapon, any weapon, comes from here. But only when tempered by this. By the discipline, the self-control of the one who wields it. That is where the true strength of a warrior lies. You must never forget that. Good then. Come.
In storytelling, events are usually categorized in one of two ways. One is known as an apparent loss, where an action taken has an apparent negative consequence, but ultimately serves to aid the hero. The other event type is referred to as a false victory, where an apparent win actually has a negative consequence which leads to a new problem for the hero. God of War utilizes the latter when it comes to Kratos revealing his godhood, and what we are seeing here is everything we had hoped to see for the God of War. He is bonding with his son. He is being a good father. He is teaching him life lessons, and Atreus seems receptive to all of it. They are gods, not men. They must be better. There is a problem, though. Atreus agrees to be better than his father, but he has no idea what that means. From a story arc perspective, Kratos' change has started, but it is far from over. Kratos has only divulged some of the truth to his son, but he is still making sure that Atreus never learns just how horrible his past was. The boy, like his father, has an idea in his mind as to what he wants to be. He is a god after all, although what that means to him is unclear. What Atreus lacks, unlike his father, is a place he wishes to avoid, a shadow to help him keep his balance. And while we want things to stay like they are, all cozy and comfortable until they spread phase ashes, that is not how good stories work.
Father, why did you leave your home and come here? Does it have to do with the other gods there? It's just, you hate the gods so much. But Tyr proves that gods can be good. And you're good. You only killed those deserving, right?
Yes.
Ah, but who's worthy enough to judge?
Quiet, head. We are. We know better.
Oh, sounding more like your da by the moment.
Ah! Oh, don't go anywhere. Be with you in 2 shakes.
Father, can I tell him?
No.
Tell me what? Did you put this wheel in your mouth? Oh God, I'll vomit. I'm not kidding. I'll throw up on it.
It is nothing. A family matter.
Oh. Oh, I can tell you a thing or two about family matters.
Let me guess. Your brother isn't as talented as you, and his work is junk.
Those things are accurate. Your point?
It's all you ever talk about, over and over. Do something about it or shut up already.
I see.
Yeah! We're sick of hearing about little people's little problems. But we're gods. We can do whatever we want.
That's what I said to your mother, right before I gave it to her.
What are you doing?
This is a much better knife than Mother's.
You killed against my wishes. You lost control.
Haven't you been teaching me to kill?
I've been teaching you to survive. We are gods, boy. And that makes us a target. From now until the end of days, you are marked. So I teach you to kill, yes, but in defense of yourself. Never as an indulgence.
Nobody cared about him anyways. What's the difference?
There are consequences to killing a god!
Why? How do you know? How do you know? Let go!
Calm down, boy. You are not ready for this.
I am ready.
And here I thought my family was fucked up.
Until this point in his life, Atreus has never cared to emulate his father, but rather opted for the nurturing nature provided to him by his mother. For the purposes of storytelling, this dynamic serves Kratos' character well, because Kratos never has to look at his actions and mannerisms with regard to Atreus, because the boy does not act like him, which is exactly what Kratos wants, to protect him from this curse. The boy has been kind, considerate, naive, and friendly, and the actions Kratos took to distance himself from his son were to conserve those qualities in Atreus, to spare him the burden of being a god. In wanting to be nothing like Kratos, Atreus was actually fulfilling a part of the Spartans' want. Now that Atreus knows of his godhood, he thinks he has more in common with his father, and begins to act not just like the father we've seen in the story, but like the god-killer we've known from the original trilogy. He degrades Mimir and Sindri, his friends. He kills without remorse. He even shoots his father so that he can take on Baldur. But, as much as we begin to dislike Atreus, he proposes several obstacles for Kratos to hurdle. How do you know? While Atreus' change in attitude is a little heavy and quickly paced, the change is needed to pose the second part of Kratos' moral dilemma. Yes, telling his son that they are both gods gave his boy some freedom and gave their relationship a point of common understanding, but there is still no foundation. Atreus views them as infallible, the purest good, righteously undefeatable because their quest is noble. He does not know that his father, that his godhood, is stained by the blood of thousands, including his uncles, grandfather, and great-grandfather. Without this basis of understanding, Atreus says some wacky stuff, and one of those lines is that truth is more important than kindness. As far as storytelling, character, and symbolism goes, this is pretty awesome. Kratos, in his first philosophical lesson to his son, gives him a weapon whose power comes from the heart, but only when tempered by the mind. I want to say that again. Kratos has given his son something, a gift, which has power, but it requires heart and mind in balance. This translates into: a father has given his son godhood, which has power, but it requires love and truth. This is God of War's Uncle Ben moment. With great power comes great responsibility. This is some damn good story writing. If you are an aspiring storyteller, this is why doing several drafts is important, because you don't accidentally make something this good on a first go of things. Anyway, where were we? The problem is that now, Atreus has lost his heart. He has lost sight of compassion. He sees himself as an infallible, unquestionable god. And because of that, because he does not fully understand the truth about his father, because of this new disregard for compassion in pursuit of nothing but the cold, honest truth, Atreus and Kratos take a plunge into the literal pits of hell.
You will listen to me and not speak a word. I am your father, and you, boy, are not yourself. You are too quick to temper. You are rash, insubordinate, and out of control. This will not stand. You will honor your mother and abandon this path you have chosen. It is not too late. This discussion is far from over. We are here because of you, boy.
It was me. But we're gods. We can do whatever we want.
Turn away, boy.
That's what I said to your mother, right before I gave it to her.
It wasn't me. couldn't have done that.
Do not dwell on those thoughts. Not here.
Yeah.
We must keep moving.
I would never
Stay out of sight.
Listen.
You had no right.
I had every right. I am your mother.
You had no right, Rich. I can't taste. I can't smell. I can't even feel the temperature of this room. Feasting, drinking, women, it's all gone.
You'll never
God!
feel pain again. Death has no power over you now. You would rather die?
Never feel again? Yes. Yes. I would rather die. Yes. Take it away, Mom.
I can't.
Please. Please take it away.
It doesn't work like that. Son, trust me. In time, you will thank me. You will thank me.
Come on. Yeah, I won't. Come on. You ruined my life.
Honey, we can figure this out. I promise. Trust me. I know how to.
You can't fix it. Come on. Do it! Do it! Come on! Coward.
It is time, my son. Look around at what you have done.
Come on, we gotta go!
You saw.
There's no time, look!
When in Helheim, we understand that our characters are going to see their greatest regrets as a form of punishment. As stated in the beginning of the video, Kratos' two main foils, Atreus and Balder, represent the Spartan as an innocent boy and as the revenge-crazed god-killer. They help us to understand Kratos at his different stages of development, and so, when these characters are stuck in hell, our storytellers can show us what truly torments these foils of Kratos. For Atreus, he is tormented by killing a god and the indifference with which he does so. For Kratos, he is haunted by beating his father to death. But for Balder, he is haunted by the memory of allowing his mother to live. And while this actually shows us in some ways how Balder was a better person than Kratos in sparing his mother, it is also the storyteller's way of showing us what happens when a man chooses to dwell and obsess over his actions, even when his action was the lesser of two evils. Now, there are obvious differences between Zeus and Freya and why their sons wanted them dead, but still, this part of the story, including Balder's piece of hell, deepens our understanding of his nature, strengthens his reflection of a younger Kratos, and we, the audience, understand that the torment of his choice, the opposite choice of what Kratos made, still follows him. We, the audience, understand that Kratos' choice still follows him, but the choice to suffer and wallow in the past leads to a dark end.
Mother.
I'm here. Don't run away.
Oh, I'm not going anywhere, Mother.
I know that you're still angry. I know that how you feel hasn't changed, but I want you...
How I feel? How I feel? I've spent the last 100 years dreaming of this moment. I rehearsed everything I ever wanted to say to you, every word, to make you understand exactly what you stole from me. But now, I realize I don't need you to understand anything. I don't need you at all.
No, back off, Kratos. This has nothing to do...
This path you walk, vengeance, you will find no peace. I know.
You... I'll deal with you later. But family first. This again?
All of the pieces finally start coming together. Atreus has a better understanding of who his father was as a god, but the relationship between gods and their children has yet to play out. Freya, the goddess who reflects Kratos' decision to protect her son from things which may hurt him, is finally reunited with her boy after 100 years. We know that Baldur, like Kratos from the original games, will not stop until he has his revenge, and we know that Kratos will not stand aside and allow Freya to die. This can be thought of as a stress test for a story's theme, and therefore its main character. Kratos stands in the way of Baldur, his former self, and warns him that this path will give him no peace. The battle against Baldur is very much a physical manifestation of Kratos fighting his old self. However, unlike in the past, when Kratos tried to take on his demons alone, this time he has his son. He has a reason to be better.
You might want to turn away, boy. This won't be pretty.
I won't let you hurt him.
No, boy.
Fine.
Stop! No! No! Atreus! You're bleeding. Breathe, boy. Breathe!
Not my blood.
What is that? I can feel this. I can feel everything.
He's vulnerable now?
Despite knowing, to an extent, the kind of god Kratos was, Atreus still decides to defend his father. Now I realize this says more about Atreus than it does about Kratos, and the focus is meant to be on Kratos. But think back to the relationship Kratos and Atreus had at the story's beginning. Think what Atreus said when Kratos was in the light of Alfheim. Atreus did not love his father, and wished that it was Kratos that would have died. But now, he is willing to take a rib-cracking punch to the chest just to protect him for a few more moments. And why did Atreus change so much? Because, if he'll try, I'll try. because Kratos made the effort to change for his son. Atreus has changed and is willing to protect his father, and in the process, inadvertently discovers Baldur's weakness.
I have paid. But if that alone will make you whole, if seeing me dead will make things right, I won't stop you.
I know.
What? No, Father!
I love you.
Why do you even care? You could have walked away.
The cycle ends here. Must be better than this.
You were just an animal. Passing on your cruelty and rage, you will never change.
And you do not know me.
I know enough. Does he?
Boy. Listen close. I am from a land called Sparta. I made a deal with the god that cost me my soul. I killed many who were deserving. And many who were not. I killed my father.
That was your father in hell. Is this what it is to be a god? Is this how it always ends? Sons killing their mothers? Their fathers?
No. We will be the gods we choose to be. Not those who have been. Who I was is not who you be. We must be better.
A lot goes on in this final sequence. Because of Kratos and Atreus having come so far in their relationship, they are able to defeat an invincible god. The god that represented Kratos' dark past is killed. Kratos is able to come clean with his son about having been a horrible god and killing his own father, but is then able to convincingly tell Atreus that they must choose to be better, that they are not fated to the cycle of killing one another, that the curse of godhood is a choice, and that they can break the cycle. Earlier in the story, Atreus has a scene where he mentions having nightmares about being eaten by a giant when he was young, which is the story of Kronos, the Titan eating his children, the gods. It is the story of the overbearing father who destroys his children through fear, the father Kratos was. Now, the god of war has revealed the whole truth to his son, and offered both Atreus and himself the opportunity for growth. We must be better. It is a statement in belief that Atreus does not need to follow in the footsteps of his father, and an admission that Kratos realizes, despite his horrible past, it is still his responsibility to change and to be better, not only for his son, but for himself as well. If not, this idea of self-loathing, guilt, and selfishness will destroy him, the way it mentally and emotionally destroys Freya, the way it nearly physically destroys her, the way it corrupts Balder to the point where, even after obtaining what he wanted, to feel again, it still isn't enough. No amount of indulgence in pain, anger, or revenge will ever satisfy him. This relationship and dynamic is the mirror for Kratos and Atreus, and, from a storytelling perspective, it is a warning of the way overprotection can harm and the way hunger for revenge can pervert even the attainment of our greatest desires. It should give you goosebumps how good this story is. And the best part is, it's not over yet.
Look! We're on the giant's fingers. I can see the highest peak ahead. Right over there. We did it.
We did.
What are you doing?
I have nothing more to hide.
Can we go now? We're so close.
Boy. Carry her.
Before the journey's end, two symbolically significant events occur. In a scene which opposes the opening image, Kratos removes the bandages from around his forearms. For us as viewers, the relief is palpable. We remember what those scars mean, what it means for Kratos to keep them in the open for anyone to see. He is not showing them off, but he is displaying the darkness of his past for anyone to see. As Kratos says, "I have nothing left to hide." But the action goes a step further. He is free from the chains of his past despite the scars. From here on out, the choice to be better is his to make. And to prove that, he gives Atreus his mother's ashes. Much in the same way Faye's knife, Atreus's bow, and Kratos' axe and knife symbolize the gift of life from parent to child, the gift of power tempered with responsibility, the gift of trust. Faye's ashes and carrying her to the last leg of the journey symbolizes how far Atreus and Kratos have come in their relationship. Kratos trusts his son to do this important task. He knows how much it means to Atreus to carry his mother to the mountaintop, even if she was mortal and he is a god. What Faye was does not change Atreus' love towards her, but who she was towards him, a loving mother, is what mattered most. And now, for Kratos, what matters most is not the god that he was, not the god that he is, but the type of father he chooses to be for his son.
Father?
No. We do it together. Son. Goodbye, Finn.
I love you, Mom.